Welcome to Rainbow Jesus 3000, the show where we explore wild thoughts and stack them against our Christian worldview. We have the conversation, so your pastor doesn't have to.
Whoosh. Hello. All right, here we have another episode of Rainbow Jesus 3000. Pew, pew, pew. I don't know where that came from.
Brand new name. We like the name a lot, and we're going to run with it.
Yep.
So what do we have today? So new format is as such. We're not going to tell Cody what we're talking about going into the episode. I'm going to spring it on him. I think it makes for better experience. The conversation is far more genuine at that point, and we'll just see what happens. You good with that?
I'm good with that. If it sucks, we'll change it. But till it sucks, let's roll with it.
I think it's going to work.
It worked the first few times, I think.
Well, let's just go for it.
Obviously, so we did some episodes to start. We've run that past a few people. We've got some feedback now. And I think we know how to be better than we were.
Just trying to make it better for you guys, and ultimately for us and everybody. So
we'll all be one big happy family.
Should we just go for it?
Let's do it. What do you got for me? I'm excited.
Okay, so today, a bit more of a deeper one we're going to get into. What I'm really happy about is actually I don't have, for this episode, a pre-established conclusion. I actually don't know where I'm going to feel like at the end.
I feel like that about every conversation I have with you. I don't know where I'm going to be at the end of it.
Well, that's why we do what we do, right? So, which I think is kind of cool. So here's the context of today's question, which is in the workplace for me, I've worked with a lot of different levels of successful people, a lot of business owners, and I find their happiness level is varied vastly. And obviously, the wealthiest of the wealthy aren't always happy. And so I've talked about it with a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun on this conversation, which is which people are happier? People in communist Russia, where we assume we know what's going on there, and I've got some employees that have come from Russia. Very poor African countries, let's just say Ethiopia. Or America, where everybody's free and supposed to be super happy.
Okay.
Right? And so I don't know where we're going to go. I'm not going to lead you anywhere other than I think let's right away acknowledge right out of the gate that happiness and joy are different.
Yeah. Sure.
I think everybody would say joy is a more deeper, better aspiration to achieve. But I kind of like just the good old-fashioned, shallow, who is happier.
I think when you start just like talking about who's happier, it's just easier to understand, like at face value.
Right. Why so? Like I feel like joy is a deeper one that there's more things involved in joy. I feel like someone can go through loss but still have joy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's joy just encompasses a lot more things. Where happiness, that's a moment you're experiencing.
Okay.
Right? Joy, you're living with joy, but you have a happy moment, right?
I think that's good. Yeah, that's not bad.
People open Christmas presents. All right, you're super happy, but the happiness of your new toy slowly fades. But the joy of the Christmas season, you know that's going to be there. That's a extended thing. Lots of people would say that they like Christmas a lot because it's a joyous time of year. Like, there's just a mood. Everybody's kind of just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what I've enjoyed about it is I like just dumbing it down to who's happier. And I think this question is in the broad sense. I think if you break it down into certain demographics is a wealthy Russian happier than a wealthy African? Or is a Christian or an educated American happier than an educated? I think if you get too specific, it loses kind of the fun. I think the fun is in the broadest term, oversimplifying which people are happier. What I'm hoping in the end we lead to does the economic structure of a company or its wealth as a whole actually even matter? Which is where I hope we get into. So,
company or a country? What did you say?
I meant country. If I said company, that's
I
not
think you
what I
said
meant.
company, but I'm pretty sure you meant country.
I meant country.
Okay, you meant country.
Yeah. So, in your naive opinion, because I think we only experience Russia through what the media tells us, and maybe some friends who've come from there, which in case you're watching, where we come from, there are a lot of immigrants from Russia that do move here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not totally foreign to us. We would have friends that either grew up in Russia or their parents did.
Yeah.
So for us, it's actually not that far-fetched of an idea. What is...
But we don't know, wouldn't say that we know what, like, Russian culture is.
I don't.
Like, I don't at all.
But I've had 2 people work for me that have been from Russia.
Yeah, I think I work with someone from Russia. I'm not sure.
Just somewhere in Eastern Europe, right? Somewhere.
Either Germany or Russia.
Yeah.
I think my grandpa's.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't.
Okay, I'll put it this way. So, do you feel like communist Russia, people are inherently less happy?
Inherently less happy?
Do you think in general you would say Russian citizens are unhappy?
Ooh. I would go with no. I think that we might think they are because we don't live in communism and we don't understand what living in communism is like.
Right.
And I've been to countries that are communists and there's a lot of happy people there.
Right.
To us, in our American structure of things, we're just like, this is horrible. Like, you're just a slave to somebody all the time, where that's just the system that they live in. That's all they've ever known, and they work within that, and they're going to find happiness within what they know.
That's what I'm hearing, is that that's all they know, and I think we've been fed through Western media that that's just absolute corruption and chaos, and everybody's upset and angry.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the story I'm hearing. Now, I'm sure there is a lot of abuse that goes on in Russia, and I'm sure I'm not condoning just whatever massive fraud or corruption. But you're right. If they're growing up in a communist system, here's the rules for communist Russia. You follow this set of rules. Your life is actually what? Is it okay? Probably, kind of would be. No.
If that's all you know. That's your structure. You just work within the guidelines of what you know. There you go. So you learn to just find your happiness within that. It's human nature to want to find happiness. I mean, if everybody was all depressed all the time, well, I feel like that would be Satan ruling the world and nobody would actually want to be alive.
Exactly. So now I guess you would have to, like you say, learn the rules of Russia, but generally you can achieve happiness in Russia. Like if someone's gonna have a family and kind of do the generally accepted right things morally and all that, there's probably some happiness there.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so what if I drop on you, what is freedom?
So you're asking me what freedom is?
Yeah, so are they more free in Russia? Are we more free here? Does that determine your level of happiness?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
What is freedom?
So you're I guess what we're trying to say, or what you're trying to say, is that is there a link between perceived freedom and happiness?
Mm-hmm.
Now my gut says probably a little bit. I'm not sure. How do you even begin to unpack that?
The very first place that I start is the less you have, the happier you are, because you got less stuff to lose.
Okay.
So there's less to worry about, and life is it's not even in your brain, so your brain has more time to focus on things that are actually important.
I think it's biblical. Didn't Solomon in Proverbs talk about, if you got
It would make sense.
a lot of stuff on your mind and you can't sleep at night? I got a lot of professional things.
I got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of things going on. I stay up at night going, oh shoot, like if one thing falls, my house of cards falls.
Yeah.
In my professional life, if one thing goes wrong, my kid is trying to pee on the toilet. And he's...
On or in?
Well, in the toilet, but sitting on it.
Okay.
But he's at the age where he will just pee running around the house and poop while he's running.
Hold on. So to go back to a previous episode, can he pee and run?
I haven't seen it. I want to. I've asked my wife to film. But it's kind of like, how do you film like a car accident unless you've got a camera all the time, right?
True.
So the thing is, he came out of his nap this morning and he's like, "Hey, Mom, look, I pooped," and he has poop on his hand,
Oh, right.
which is cute because he's 2 years old, and then he runs away smearing it on the wall.
Right in front.
So I get to be privileged to be in a work business meeting, and my wife, God bless her, is cleaning up smeared poop on the wall.
So, in that situation, who's experiencing more freedom, you or her? You're working. She's not.
I think what we're getting at is I was probably going at I've got a lot of stuff, my family life going on right now. Kids got to pee on the potty.
Yep.
Work life is always crazy. Social life, everything. So I would agree. There's a lot at stake, and if something falls apart, maybe the whole thing crashes down. And I feel like young adults, at least in North America, have so much change happening. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, graduating high school, do we go to university? Do we hit the workforce? Do we get a car? Bills, rent, mortgages, marriage, kids, all happens maybe before you're 30. Maybe not. Right?
Maybe not.
But maybe, right? So
Yeah.
So there's a lot at stake, and holy Toledo, if that falls apart, then what? Hit depression and you're not happy.
Been there.
Been there.
Fell apart.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're saying that just the sheer volume, possessions and stuff going on, we're almost a slave to our own lifestyle.
Like we live like kings here, and like when you go on holidays, do you sleep way better?
Okay, that's a loaded question. I
Okay.
don't because
Interesting.
here's the thing.
Okay.
In my workplace, there's not multiples of me. Like if you
Yeah,
go
okay.
to a bank, there's multiple tellers. If one teller goes on vacation, the other teller slides in, fills in her shift, move
So
on.
that's the difference of being an employee and an employer.
Yeah, so I'm an
right?
employer.
You have a lot
So
of
when I go on holidays,
Yeah.
I don't get a break. I just know that there's 2 weeks of work piled up waiting for me when I
Yep,
come home.
I remember that.
So I don't know if I backfired on you other than I'm proving my point of I don't even get to enjoy a stinking holiday.
Okay.
But
For the rest of us.
in theory, though, that holiday should be freedom.
Yeah. Okay. So, previously being an employer and being an employee now, I understand your point.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I go on holidays now, you don't have the stuff at home to think about.
So you can all leave it here, and you can go away and leave it all.
Yeah.
And that
the
feels
point of a holiday, right?
which
to get away.
I agree is
right?
is the point, and then have maybe some good family moments or something, right?
Yeah.
So do you see that there's some freedom in that for you?
Yeah.
If you do it right.
Yeah, if you do it right, you do it healthy
Yeah.
and all that. So my time away where I can rest, relax, and reset, like gives my brain that actual freedom to just disengage, disconnect from everything here, and like it's almost like just taking a big breath of fresh air for your mind. It doesn't have to. It's not in the grind or anything. It's like you don't forget about all the stuff that you have going on, but it's not constant. It's not on your mind, and you can just kind of be you. You literally just be who God made you to be. Just that, and there's nothing tied to it. You're just existing, and I think that everybody's happy when they go on holidays, but I think that brings an element of joy when you return because you're full of that fresh air. And
Okay, so you were trying to, I guess, it's a fantastic question, which was, with the happiness, does freedom play a part, and would being more free make you more happy? And I think you're trying to tell me that we're actually not very free here in North America.
I don't think that we are. From being all the places that I've been, whatever, 30 countries, like it's that perceived freedom that we have, and we're supposed to be happy, but everybody's a slave to their lifestyle.
So I feel like in North America we've got a lot of options for entertainment. We've got a lot of, it's a big playground. We've got toys. We've got, snowmobiles, boats. Movies are no longer a thing, but I guess vacations, the beach.
How are movies no longer a thing?
Movie theaters. Well, is that
That's
really
just
gonna?
this year.
They're gonna go bankrupt. Don't you think?
No way. The movie culture?
No, movie culture, like, Netflix will kick butt for a while.
Yeah.
But do you think, like,
No,
Cineplex is going to have...
Yeah. There's a whole world of people that like standing in lines, like spending money on ridiculous snacks.
Okay.
And they like just being in that atmosphere.
Okay, fair.
I think it's just all the people that are there, and that's just the excitement. It's like a concert for them, for movie people.
It's almost like a nostalgic thing already.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and
then,
two, like, you get to, I don't know, last time I was in a movie theater, they have this crazy, like, you get to the fancy theater that has the nice couches and the crazy sound system and the, like, IMAX. Well, IMAX is just cool. Like, not everybody's going to have nobody's going to have an IMAX in their house, right? So to go to an IMAX, it's an event, it's a thing to go to. People like to do things. That I don't think is going to die.
Okay. So then, yeah,
that's my point.
Fair enough. I'm put in my place. So then money then. So we had kind of said money and freedom could have been reasons why the average person, or at least would initially gut shot, would affect happiness. How important is money to happiness?
This is a fun one. I
think Bill Gates would have his answer.
Yeah.
And I think the single mom working at the dollar store would have her own answer.
I think you have very different answers from people that have money and people that don't have money.
And how would it affect... So, is the single mom working at the dollar store less happy than a Bill Gates who's literally got everything?
That, I think, has nothing to do with the amount of money that they have.
Okay.
That comes down to are you choosing to be happy? Are you choosing to live a lifestyle that's happy? It's the things that you do in life and the experiences and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, you've hit on something now that I didn't think we'd ever go to today, but I like it, which we'll get to, which was they're choosing to be happier. As in, there's a bit of a psychological positioning of yourself as well, which I think is actually important. We should probably end with that after this. But you were saying, well, that whole, psychologically positioning yourself to be happier, I think is a thing.
Yeah.
But you're saying that...
Like a thing we talk about on another podcast?
No, right here now.
Oh, we talk
we should
right now.
Yeah.
Good.
But you're saying that money, you think, absolutely doesn't have a long-term effect on happiness. And I think I would agree by saying, someone who's super wealthy with a lot of money, the initial joy or happiness, let's use it, of buying a bunch of jet skis and buying a gravel pit and then having a weekend of fun, just splurging on stuff would be kind of fun for a while, give happiness for a while, but eventually it kind of wears off, right?
Christmas present thing. Your toy it becomes unfun after a while because it becomes complacent. You're used to it.
Totally.
That kind of thing.
So and I don't know Justin Bieber, probably never will ever talk to this guy, but he probably was...
Never say never.
Don't ever... Are you a believer?
Wow, do we octopus this thing?
Don't.
Pound me. Yeah.
A guy like him, growing up with boatloads of money, more than he really knew what to do with as a young adult, he probably got sick and tired of being able to do whatever the heck he wanted.
Yep, I wouldn't...
Or, he would still do it, but I bet you, his happiness level wasn't as... very quickly, it get boring, right?
Yeah.
The Christmas present example. I love my new Lego, but eventually I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
Right? So then based out of that, you would say, people with a lot of wealth can do things, buy things with that money to give them some happiness, but it's very temporary and eventually gets stagnant.
Yep.
Now...
Because you get into the possessions and material things of this world. You can't take it with you when you're dead, right? So... Right. The things that... it holds little value in the broad spectrum of your lifespan on the planet.
Now, I actually read a Bill Gates Reddit Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
One of the questions was, Bill Gates, do you like having lots of money? Is there an advantage to it? And I loved his response because he goes, I'll be honest, he says, having a lot of money has a lot of advantages. For example, obviously he can set up his retirement, he can set up his kids for education, healthcare isn't an issue if he can pay for anything. So he says there's obvious advantages.
Yeah.
So he says he's very grateful for it. And I thought it was a fantastic way for a very well-known, very wealthy man to admit that, yes, being very rich has advantages. Good, I agree. It absolutely has advantages. But the question was, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced Bill Gates is happier than the average person. In fact, probably has way too much big things on his mind that makes him unhappy.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's a lot of people that, like, speaking on Bill Gates, there's a lot of people that don't like Bill Gates, and there's a lot of people that do like Bill Gates. And I'm on the side where I like Bill Gates. The things that he's doing, he's a philanthropist, and like a lot of that kind of stuff that he's doing, he's focusing a lot of his time there.
And I'm on the suspect side.
Okay. What? To be clear, I'm suspect of everybody that I don't know, because the internet, how much can you...
We don't have to agree. Do we have to agree on everything?
We don't.
We don't actually have to agree on everything. That's kind of the point.
Anyways, so in listening to Bill Gates talk about the philanthropy that he does, he talks way more about the outcome of doing that work than the outcome of running a successful business. Why? One of them has more value to him. If he was going to talk, if business stuff had more value,
right,
that's more where he would spend more of his time. He likes doing the philanthropy more.
Well, and I think Bill Gates and Elon Musk have things like legacy to kind of keep them busy, right? They want to leave a mark for the rest of mankind, for history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they've reached this upper tier of just, I've got all the resources anyone would ever want. How can I actually make a difference that lasts forever? And me or you may never ever achieve that. They're lucky enough to be able to be in that position, right? Mm-hmm. I think heavy is the crown there. I think that's a bit it's a very unique. I don't know if I'd want that weight on it.
I don't think I would, because like from what it seems is 50% of people like Bill Gates.
Well, you can't win.
Don't. Right? So
you can't win. Someone's gonna keyboard crusade their way out there.
So like that's a lot of stuff to take on, and I wouldn't doubt if he's done a lot of, I don't know, training of some sort of how to be resilient to a lot of the stuff. Because I don't know, any celebrity, I don't want to be a celebrity. Because
there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy being an introvert at home watching my Netflix.
Like, there's advantages to that, and like, I don't know, I've had a couple videos online go viral, like hit over 1 million views, and you're like, right on, this is awesome. And the next day, and you're like, well, and now it stopped, and you're like,
we gotta go
it's
to work.
like super high up and then super down, and you're like, just as a whole in my entire life, I wish that just wouldn't have happened, because it's a crazy extreme in the emotions, and it's just taxing on your system as a whole.
Okay.
That being said, I wish upon everybody that it happens at least one time, just so you can experience it, because that first time you're like,
what, to go viral?
Yeah,
that would be kind of fun.
It's cool.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to experience that at least once in your life.
Yeah.
I feel like the last thing to maybe explore a little bit for today's episode, which I appreciate you for almost leading into this, because I didn't even think about it till you did. Which was what I was thinking about here was the posture to maybe have more happiness in your life. Like, I think there is something to be said about people who are perpetually like, woe is me, the world's out to get me, or almost like have pity on me because I'm in such a bad state. Yeah. Like, yes, we need to acknowledge the situation we're in sometimes. Like, if you're a single mom, you've got some kids, and money is tight, and you got fired, yes, acknowledge that sucks. But there's people that I think are perpetually positioning themselves to be unhappy, right? Yeah. And I think there's people that do a really good job of, it's not arrogance, it's not ego, it's just they have a healthy self-esteem where they're able to look at a situation, and you know what, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you weren't actually trying to tell me I look ugly, right? Or you weren't actually trying to insinuate that I did something unethical, right? Maybe I just misheard you. Yeah. And then before I can go and, like, I want to get some clarity, but in the meantime, I'm going to at least have a healthy view of life.
Exactly.
Don't you think that affects happiness?
100%.
It's got to.
It's your mindset as you're going through every day. I use me as an example. Okay, so previously been through the suicide and the depression and all that kind of stuff, and coming out of that now as a single guy, the way that I was able to come out of that and just structured things in a way that now I can afford whatever I want. No, I'm not Bill Gates, but I don't have I don't have crazy amounts of payments on all sorts of stuff. I'm not tied down by any of that stuff. I just bought another property, and I have the freedom and ability to do that because I've structured my finances in a way that allow me to do that. One of the things that I learned on that journey, though, and I'm kind of living through that now, is having the ability to buy whatever you want. Well, now I just have too much stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel kind of shitty about it often because I have so many toys, but I can't play with them. Right.
First world problems,
right? And it's
So I know some people who are often unhappy when their actual situation, me not being naive, I actually know what they're going through. It's actually not nearly as bad. And if they would just posture themselves differently, mentally, they'd be way happier people. I know some people who are often very happy all the time in spite of a lot of junk going on. And they're genuinely happy. And they're not living in la la land, make-believe. They know, as a Christian, you have faith that you'll get through to the end. God will get you through it. And if you die, you just go to heaven. It's a win-win. So that's the Christian advantage. But even just from a psychological perspective, just getting good at having a healthy worldview, a healthy position on any issue. Right? And maybe if give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't get abused over and over, but 100%. at least don't default to a negative position. Right?
Wouldn't you just sooner live your life that way anyways? I would sooner trust this person at first than not trust them. And if they burn me, there's common sense to be had in that, like you're saying.
Don't get abused over and over, but default
to that's probably a good person. God made people and said they were good. So in general, I think people are good.
And people suck at talking, and maybe they just need to talk better.
It's true. We live in a world now where people don't talk face to face. So when that does happen,
that's
maybe
why we do this.
We get that whole thing going.
So then should we kind of round this thing back up a bit? I feel like the initial question was, who's happier? Communist Russia, poverty Africa, or freedom America? And I think the initial question revolved a bit around the politics of communism, capitalism, and poverty, assuming Africa is a bit of a gong show, which is, I know, very oversimplified and naive. Right? And they've got structure. But I think we've learned today that it's, freedom is loaded, and we don't even have the freedom we think we have in North America. And B, the happiness equation isn't really tied to money. And so that whole Africa thing, where there's less money, kind of goes out the window as well. And so what did you come up with? I think you hit on a good point, which was position yourself psychologically to be happier in general. At least allow yourself the opportunity to be.
I think that a great example is look at our grandparents, that generation. They didn't have a whole lot. Lots of them are immigrants that came over here with absolutely nothing. And you look at us now, and we have more than we can play with.
Right, totally.
Who's happier, a kid that's sitting on an iPhone all day, or a kid who's outside playing with a stick?
I have boys. Those sticks are fun.
Right?
Right? They're really
sticks
fun.
Sticks are cool.
It
seems simple, but I mean, it's pretty easy to. Once you figure out what to do with the stick, well, go poke your brother. Ha! That's funny. All right.
And they beat each other, and it's fantastic. So, whatever. So I think we've kind of come at our conclusion. My wife just came home.
She did. That was good.
Love you, babe.
I'm glad we're friends.
That's fantastic. So I think we've hit the end of our episode. That was, I believe we're at episode 3 of Rainbow Jesus 3000. Cody has a bit of a blurb on sharing, right? How do you want to do this?
On
sharing our podcast, share it with some friends, right?
So what we're working on figuring the structure out on this. So what I would like to tell you is, if you got anything valuable from this, or no, that is it. If you got anything valuable from this,
Slim chance.
share it. I'm pretty sure there's a share button somewhere there. Maybe it's up there. I don't know. We're figuring that one out. There's a share button. Hit that if you want to send that to somebody that you think's going to get a chuckle out of this, or maybe there's somebody that needs some financial advice. We're not financial advisors, but maybe the financial advice of be happy works.
Anyways, thank you for watching this episode of Rainbow Jesus 3000. We're going to sign off with, we're covering the stuff that pastors don't talk about.
So you don't have to?
I don't even know if that
No,
works.
you said it
Should we
wrong.
cut this out?
No.
How did we see we're going to
This
sign
is
this
for real.
real?
Where we talk about the stuff your past... no. We talk about the stuff...
We're having the conversation so your pastor doesn't have to. We're talking about it so your pastor doesn't have to.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, you want to redo your sharing thing?
Okay.
Even?
Sure.
We can just place that in.
Yeah. Okay, so share this if you found anything entertaining about it, or
somewhat
informative.
useful. Yeah.
Useful. That much usefulness is good. Share that with somebody that could find that useful. If they want to be happy, give them this podcast. That'll probably work. And
thanks for watching this episode of Rainbow Jesus 3000. We're talking about the weird stuff.
So your pastor doesn't have to.